Hello ladies, gentlemen and others, this is the Peculiar Lefty, sponsored by Gillette. You, yes you, can have the cleanest shave in the breadline if you use the People's Razor. I'm here to give you my point of view on Brexit, the subject that absolutely no one is sick of hearing about. So we're approaching the point of no return, where we'll actually be leaving the EU, the Brexit event horizon if you will, and of course every other newspaper article is about that. You know, we've got 1 million people using food banks, people working 40 hours or more a week who can barely pay their rent, vital social services being cut to the bone, but for some reason, all anyone can think to talk about is the EU. Do you want Brexit? Do you want a second referendum? Does Corbyn want a second referendum? When are we leaving? What's going to happen when we leave? Over and over again, day in and day out. It's worse than a royal fucking wedding. So I guess I'm going to add to the problem, because that's what I do. So yeah, that's why I've made this video, to put the whole thing to bed once and for all, because comrades, you see, I know what will happen after Brexit. I've peered into my crystal ball, and I can tell you that after we leave the EU, you're going to be overworked, underpaid, have no power in the workplace, and be at the mercy of exploitative bosses and parasitic landlords. But there's more. There's more. You see, if we cancel Brexit, right, if we cancel Brexit altogether, stay in the EU, nothing changes, you will be overworked, you'll be underpaid, have no power in the workplace, and you'll be at the mercy of exploitative bosses and parasitic landlords. In fact, if we could cancel the referendum altogether, if we could go back in time to 2016 and stop this whole mess from happening, you would still be underworked. Underworked if only. You'd still be overworked, you'd still be underpaid, you'd be powerless in your workplace, etc., etc. Right? What I'm trying to say here is, in a fundamental sense, Brexit doesn't matter. Neither leaving the EU nor staying in the EU will help the women getting turned away from domestic violence shelters because there aren't enough beds. It won't help the people who are reliant on housing benefit to pay their rent because their employers won't pay a living wage. It won't stop the privatisation of the NHS, and it won't help the people who have to take on a second or even a third job in order to make ends meet. Alright, my point is that the problems that face ordinary working people in this country will not change after we leave the EU. They'll probably get worse. I'm not saying Brexit will have no effect, you know, things are going to get worse if we leave, but it will be a change of quantity, not quality. Our problems will be the same, and the solution to those problems will be the same: an organised, politically conscious working class. If people put the same amount of effort into organising and actually trying to change the economic system that we live under that they do into fighting over Brexit, we'd be in a much better situation. And incidentally, we'd be much better able to handle the effects of Brexit, whatever those may be. So I'm not saying Brexit isn't important, I'm not saying you shouldn't be worried about it, I'm not saying it's not going to cause problems, but I am saying it's not the most important thing in the world. And we need to stop being divided over issues like this. We need to stop saying, you know, one half of the country are racist idiots or whatever, and just start working together to change the things that are actually causing the problems we're having. Because until we do that, Brexit or no Brexit, we're all fucked.